Okay, guys. Don't know if you can hear me. Gonna test this out real quickly. Gonna test this out, make sure everything is connected right. So you guys can hear me. Hold on for a sec. Got an advertisement here. Okay, it is. Just making sure, guys. Just making sure. But welcome. Those of you tuning in, welcome. Yes, we are live, as live can be today on Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. It's 3:15 p.m. Pacific time. Pacific time. So that's 4:15 in the mountain, 5:15 in central, 6:15 in the east, and of course, 2 or 3 hours ahead, behind us, Hawaii and Alaska, which would be 1:15 and 12:15. Take a take a few, if you will. Take a few hours. But anyway, yes, welcome, guys. Welcome. As I get myself some Pepsi here. But yes, welcome, and what a day it's been. Now, first of all, I do apologize for any vocal lag that you may hear, as well as any ads that will pop up. I am monetizing, so, that's going to happen. But anyway, welcome to this video, because yes, today, this morning, the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie trailer did drop. I did do a audio overview, or basically thoughts on it. It was kind of a reaction, but not in the reactional way that you see people like Andre Meadows of Black Nerd Comedy, Cyberpunk Jordan, who did his first one today, believe it or not. But others like them, like 3C Films, and I'm sure Angry Joe's going to do. It's not in that kind of, it's not kind of in that field, if you will, of reactions. I mean, I used to do those, still do them on occasions, but, I'm monetizing now, so I don't want to deal with any, potential copyright claim, maybe strikes and everything. And also, hey, I want to make some money, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, welcome to, but yeah, I did do, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here, but I did do, like I said, a thoughtful audio-like reaction to it, if you will. And, yeah, I thought the trailer looked really good. It definitely got me sold to want to go see it. And as I corrected myself at the end of the video there, I truly believe that basically we're going to get one more trailer, or at least one or two more trailers before December 20th. I think the next one we're going to get will be before the Transformers 1 film in a couple of weeks. So I expect that. So Transformers 1, I think, comes out on the 20th. What is it? I'm trying to find. I think it's the 20th of this month too. This upcoming month, right? Yeah, the 20th of this month, this upcoming month. So, yeah, it's coming out on the 20th of September, Friday, September 20th. So I expect a second trailer to be released then, if not this one, if you will. And let me just fix something here for a second. There we go. Just have to adjust something there. But like I said, expect maybe either this trailer that we got today, or a newer trailer, or more footage, or newer footage we haven't seen yet, to be released before Transformers 1 on the 20th. That would basically be our second trailer, and that would basically be the one that precedes the third one that I believe we'll get as well. So, to me, time frame wise, as I said at the end of the video this morning, expect a second trailer that is, to be released between the September 20th, which is the release of Transformers 1. So expect a new trailer to be released before that movie is shown, and expect another one, like I said, before that. But the time frame, I'm trying to again, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. I do apologize. But time frame wise, expect that one between September 20th and maybe Thanksgiving. So expect a second trailer between that time frame, and then expect the third one between Thanksgiving and the first week of December. So that's what I think is going to happen. We're going to get a second one, potentially maybe on September 20th, which will be the one shown before Transformers One. I believe the time frame that would be the time frame, for it September 20th or between September 20th and Thanksgiving, and then I believe the third one would be between Thanksgiving and the first or second week of December, mostly the first week. That's how I view it, for the next two trailers, because they're going to want to promote this as much as they can when they can. Now, just to let you guys know, in case you are curious, super chats are open. Yes, it'd be very much appreciated if you guys can get some super chats in here. I'm getting very close to the end of my current run with unemployment. Hopefully, I'll be working by then with Kohl's. But yeah, get your super chats in, guys. Every bit counts. Really helps me out. Super thanks also will be open after the stream is done, and after it's done, I guess you could say converting. Basically, going through its 12-hour cycle before 12 or 13-hour cycle before it uploads officially. So like if you need to clip it, you can download it after that time frame. At least if you're the content creator of any live stream. But anyway, yeah, super chats are open. Also, guys, check out my Teespring store. Link is in the description for the Teespring store. You can get merchandise there that you can't get nowhere else. It would help me out if you got, get a little something there. It'd be nice financial. It'd be a nice, nice way to help me build the channel, help some pay some bills and stuff like that. Be greatly appreciated. Also, there are links to where you can find my content elsewhere at Spotify for podcasters, iHeartRadio, you name it, Rumble, Odyssey. I am there, including VENMO as well. But anyway, with that said, also I got a Cash App and a Venmo in case you guys want to look into that as well. I think I got those linked in there as well. But anyway, though, getting on to the trailer that was released today. TV. Like I said earlier, I thought it was a good trailer. It got me hyped up and everything. It's got me hyped up, wanting to go see this film. I think Keanu Reeves is going to kill it as Shadow. Perfect voice cast there for him, for that character, I should say. But now the question is, what is going to be the aftermath? Like, what takes place in the film? What is going to be the aftermath? Well, honestly, if the trailer is any indication, this first trailer is any indication of what the movie's going to be like, maybe from a story perspective, I've got a feeling that, throughout it, especially towards the end, I think the aftermath for like our main heroes is going to be, is going to be life lessons, if you will. Life lessons and adjusting, if you will, kind of adjusting and changing up your style of, or your mind, or trying to readjust your mindset to something that, is different and more in line with where you are. So for example, with Knuckles in the trailer, we see him basically wanting to fight Shadow because, Sonic's trying to talk Shadow down, saying, hey, we don't want to fight, but Knuckles is like, actually, Sonic, I would like to fight. And he goes to try to fight Shadow, and basically Shadow teleports, which surprises Knuckles. Shadow grabs his fist and just goes, kind of like snaps it a little bit. And that kind of tells you right there that one lesson I think Knuckles is going to learn throughout this film, because it's something that he's been learning, not just in the television series, whether you liked it or not. Honestly, I thought it was okay. I thought the Knuckles series was okay. It's not for everybody, but it's to help, bleed into, the cinematic universe. So I thought it did its job. I thought it was decent. I thought it did its job. And I'm looking forward to catching up with it when I can. But I thought it did a good job. Overall, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it did what it did. And also, you got to realize that the reason they didn't show Knuckles as much as they did the human friend of his is because for a streaming television production, even with a bit of a budget, it still costs money to animate characters like Knuckles in the movie style, if you know what I mean. Getting some more Pepsi there. So that so with that exception though, I thought the show was good. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, um, Knuckles has this this warrior way of thinking. Again, we saw that in the show. So I think what we're gonna probably get as as an aftermath for him, like a lesson learned, is yes, he can keep his warrior ways, but he's also now got to balance out like, okay, I keep my warrior ways, but how can I adjust them to be more in line with this world? Kind of update my thinking, if you will. And I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to basically have to realize that yeah, the warrior ways that he was taught are good, but when it comes to certain situations like with Shadow, it's best to just wait things out and see what's happening. Maybe talk things out and all that. But I think that's going to be a lesson learned. I think with Sonic, we've seen this before, but I think it's going to be a lesson of, hey, you could still be you, but when it comes to threats like a Shadow or whatever, you know, there's a time and place to have fun and be a kid, but there's also a time and place to get serious and to grow up, mature, and be serious. And I think that's what we're going to get here with Sonic. I think Sonic's going to have to realize that with someone like Shadow, playtime's over, time to grow up, mature, and basically focus on doing what needs to be done to protect his friends, his family, and the world. Tails, I think I think his life lesson is, I think the lesson for Tails is, it's better. It's like for certain situations like Shadow, it's best that maybe he's not too much involved because he's still kind of young. So I think for him, it's going to be more like, your help is more useful coming up with inventions and plans and all that to combat whatever threat like a Shadow, whatever threat someone like Shadow brings, if you know what I mean. So I think those are going to be like the lessons. The lessons taught for them in the aftermath is Knuckles is going to have to adjust to is going to have to adjust to where, to a lifestyle to where he can try to stay, keep his warrior ways, but also kind of, learn that, okay, there's a time that he's got to balance things out. He's got to basically be like, there's a time and place to be a warrior, to think like a warrior, but there's a time and a place to kind of put that aside and be, be something else or do something else to, to help out. And there is an ad coming up, guys. I do apologize for that, for any of you that might get it. But yeah, I think those are going to be the life lessons for them. There is speculation. People have been talking about this because people might say, "Oh, they gave too much away in this trailer." I don't think they did. I think with what they've done here is they're kind of getting you to still speculate, like, okay, what's going to happen. And there's been talk of time travel, planet jumping, and and all that. And excuse me again. And I think if time travel is involved, that might, that right there, if time travel plays a part in this, that is where you might, get your interaction between Maria and Shadow. Not just through flashback, but mainly through actual interaction with Maria coming in from the past and Shadow of the present and her interacting with him and her basically, talking to him and saying, this was not what you were meant to be. You are meant to be a hero. Like basically she'll take on the Amy role if that's the case. Now there is a character in there by I guess she's going to be a major character. I can't think of the actress's name. Her name's Christina something. I can't think of the last name. But she's a gun soldier, but she's supposed to play like a major part or semi-major part. And one thought that went through my mind is, with every adaptation they do, loose or exact when it comes to Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow's backstory or his origin story, they always change things up. They always change certain things up to where basically you get some familiarity, but you also get something different, something new. And when I look at this character here, this gun lady, I'm thinking of this character, this Christina girl is playing. I was thinking to myself earlier, what if in this world, and I know it's a long stretch, but again, it's a it's a loose adaptation. It's not direct, loose adaptation. My thought is, what if in this world, Joe Robotnik, who we do see is alive somehow, but what if Joe Robotnik found a way to transfer the mind of Maria into this girl? Like maybe this girl, was brain dead and everything, but still alive. What if he found a way to transfer Maria's mind into hers? Because Maria's body, was dying. Like it could, like the brain was functioning, but the body was dead, or something like that. You get the idea. And I'm thinking, what if that's the case? And this girl, that this Christina girl's playing, what if she's Maria in a different body? You know, that could be the twist nobody would see coming. That to me could be the twist nobody would see coming because of the fact that it would be something different. It would stay in line. It would stay in line with, somewhat of what the story is about. But, I think, but to me, it would be interesting. It would really catch people off guard because it'd be like, Maria it'd be like, it would be like, oh crap, Maria was here the whole time. She was just, in hiding because she was in another body thanks to a mind transfer. Now, again, I know that might be a long shot, and I know that might be people thinking that I'm, theorizing way too much and really grasping for straws. But again, we're talking loose adaptation. We're talking that every time Shadow has his backstory, his origin story told, it's very identical and similar, but also, there's something different, something tweaked to make it to make it feel fresh and everything. So excuse me, there's that possibility, if you will. Just drinking some more Pepsi. There's that possibility. Now, if if time travel and mind swapping isn't a thing that's going to happen, what about planet jumping? Now, one of the things we see in the trailer is Robotnik and Sonic, because Sonic and Robotnik are going to team up here because Shadow's that big of a threat. We see them coming out of a ring portal. The question is, are they just using that ring portal to go from one part of the world to the next, or are they using it to go from world to world? Because we know that Sonic has a map of different worlds out there. So what if they're going from world to world, and because they're jumping from world to world, and I forgot to add this, I'm going to add it right now. What if one of the worlds they jump to might be Sonic's world, and the characters that they meet up with, and I'm going to pop it up right now, the characters they meet up with could be these characters right here. Yeah. Everybody's wondering, okay, where is, I'm sorry if I made that small and everything, but people are wondering, where is, Amy and Rouge? Why Amy and Rouge in here? And I think, honestly, they're going to be in the film if we're doing planet to planet and they end up on Sonic's planet, to try to find a way to stop Shadow. You never know. We already know that Eggman ended up on the Mushroom Planet. What if they are using the rings to teleport, like I said, from planet to planet to try to find a solution to, maybe, stopping Shadow, and they meet up with Amy, maybe even Rouge. Those are possibilities I think people need to, really consider. Those are possibilities people need to really, think about, like, oh, shoot, oh, shoot, that's that could happen. That could happen. Now, what's even more interesting, too, and this is another theory I was thinking about, in the games, Gerald Robotnik creates Shadow. He's a science experiment or something. How did he create Shadow? Did he find a little black hedgehog and mutate him? Is that what happened? Or, and this is just something I was thinking about as well, or is Shadow actually from Sonic's world? Think about that. Shadow himself could be from Sonic's world, and basically what we could find out is that Gunn, and mostly Gerald Robotnik, knew They knew about about Sonic's world, I should say, the whole time, but they didn't say anything. Imagine what that's going to be like. Imagine the reaction that could get, as I just adjust something here. But imagine the reaction that that could get, if you will, if that gets revealed. That, oh shoot, Shadow is actually from Sonic's world, but it was kept secret, and because it was kept secret, it from everybody, by Gunn, by Joe Robotnik. Imagine the reaction, the storytelling that could tell, with Sonic being like, "Wait a minute, these people knew about my world the whole time." That it's something it's something to really think about. Really consider, as a possibility. And maybe we get a background. Maybe Gerald, found out about the world. Shadow, befriended him and Maria, and he got hurt, and Joe took him back to our world and put him in a tube to heal him, make him better, and that's how they befriended each other. It's something to really, to really look at, to really think about, to really be like, oh, that would be an interesting twist as well. You know, and because no, because honestly, we've never thought about that. We never thought about that, if you will. I mean, it's been theorized and speculated since even the first movie, but it's never really been explored fully. To the to the extent, excuse me, that it could be. And to me, this third film, definitely presents, in my opinion, presents an opportunity like no other. It presents an opportunity like no other to go that route, to go down that route of Gunn knowing the entire time, Joe Robotnik knowing the entire time of Sonic's world being real and other worlds like it being out there. So that to me can be an interesting twist, along with the possibility that that character that Christina Girl's playing, being Maria, via mind swipe or mind swap, if you will, I should say. Just drinking more Coke there. But yeah, those are possibilities when you really, really think about it. So, what? So to me, any of those speculations and theories that I just came up with, I think are more possible with this film and the direction they're going with this film than ever before. The planet jumping, the time travel, the mind swapping, Shadow being from Sonic's world and everything. I mean, it is all possible, more so than I think ever thought of with this third film. I really do. Now the question is, what's going to happen after this third film? Well, the news came out, I think earlier this year or last year, that the Sonic universe, the movie universe, cinematic universe, is not going anywhere after the third film. They're still going to keep going and going because there's a vast amount of Sonic lore and material, going to Jeff Fowler, who, by the way, tweeted this on X. Jeff Fowler tweeted this on X, saying that it was an honor for him to work on the VFX, if you will, on the VFX for Shadow in the Shadow game. It was an honor for him to work on it then as part of that team, to now, almost 20 years later, bringing the character to life on the big screen. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise to find out that he actually helped out VFX wise on the Shadow the Hedgehog game, and now here he is, directing the film that Shadow, the third Sonic film, with the movie debut of Shadow himself. That's pretty cool. But yeah, him and his team have said that there is more to explore within the Sonic universe, more to explore than we can ever imagine. Which is why you see what you see on the screen right now, because this one here on the top left corner probably would be the more accurate one to an extent. To an extent, if you will. We're not totally sure. I think the one correction I would look at is, instead of getting like a season 2 of Knuckles on Paramount Plus, I think we're going to get, depending on how this movie ends, we're going to get a Shadow miniseries. That's what I think we're going to get. I think we're going to get a to 8 part, maybe 8 part at most, because Shadow's that kind of a character. He might use, or he might need, excuse me, his story might need 8 parts. Excuse me, 8 episodes. Um, but I think instead of a Knuckles series, we're going to get a Shadow series. Now they have Rouge in there, but I don't think we're going to get a Rouge series or anything like that. But I will say this: if we don't get a planet jumping situation to where that's how we meet with Rouge and Amy, then I guarantee you we'll see Rouge and Amy pop up at the end of the third film, a la Tails, if you will. But anyway, like I said, I don't think we're going to get a Rouge, but I think, or Knuckles season 2. I think we're going to get a Shadow 8 episode miniseries. We will get a Sonic 4. We are going to get a Sonic 4, there's no doubt. And that will be the full length debut theatrically of Amy and Rouge. I don't know what role Shadow will play, but Amy and Rouge are going to be in that one. And it's going to be, and I think that might be where the Death Egg comes into play. Now you might say, well, Jim Carrey is going to be done by then, right? True, Jim Carrey might be done, but then again, there's nothing saying that he can't come back for one more film, or maybe, in this story, he passes the baton, if you will, he passes the torch to Agent Stone, and Stone becomes the new Robotnik. You never know. You never know. But Sonic 4, I definitely think, is when the Death Egg would show up. The Chaotix, I think they'll also show up in Sonic 4, so Amy, Rouge, and the Chaotix, expect that to happen. Silver, I do not think he's going to get a series. Shadow 2, Shadow's not going to get a movie. And we will get a Sonic 5. So I know that. And I know the Death Egg story is definitely one that's setting up, should set up, I should say, for Sonic 4. And then Sonic 5 could be potentially maybe Sonic Heroes or Sonic Generations or something like that. It'd be one of those. Maybe something original. But again, that's the key thing they've talked about when it came to this, is that there is a lot more to explore. There's a lot more to explore, if you will. And again, by the way, guys, just to remind you, super chats are open. And check out my Teespring store, or just trying for merch you can't get anywhere else. So there we go. So super chats are open, and check my Teespring store, or for merchandise, for merch you can't get anywhere else. Be greatly appreciated if you guys could do that both ways. Purchase yourself a mug, a T-shirt. Be greatly appreciated. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. Again, Jeff Fowler said that there's more to explore. Now, there has been discussion, just speculation and rumor, but it has been discussed, I think, within the studios, that maybe starting with the 4th Sonic movie, maybe the 5th, we could get all CGI animated. What that means is basically, we could see Sonic and his friends going back to the world, and that's how things kind of, go in that direction. Or we could just see them going the CGI route, which would make it a lot easier and everything, and then maybe you have and look, I get people are going to probably question that, but how many, here's the thing, here's what I'm trying to find the right words to utilize here. But to me, there have been other examples to where things start off in live action, and then they go to animation, and that's within movies. Like the first or second movie could be live action, the third movie is animation. It happens, but it's all within, it's all within that same timeline, continuity, context, if you will. So I'm not ruling out the fact that Sonic 4 will not still be CGI live action, But I think honestly in the future it's going to probably go CGI more so than live action. Now, the other thing about the fourth Sonic movie is yes, it could continue on in the same worlds, our world, if you will, same continuity and everything, but it could also go in a different direction. It can. It can go off in a different direction. And we have seen that. We have seen that with a lot of films. They will go off in different directions. You want to talk about you want to talk about a franchise of films distributed by Paramount that have gone off in different directions later on? Transformers. That's right. All of them had a consistent continuity until I think what was it, last night? To the last night or something like that. I think it was up to the last night, I believe. Last night or Age of Extinction. One of them. It was one of them, I believe. Let me check. Let me check for a second, guys. Wait, oh, I think I got caught there. Let me check for a second. Age of Extinction last night. Dark of the Moon. Yeah, it basically got to a point that I think people have been saying that between Age of Extinction and The Last Night is when they kind of went off and did their own thing. They didn't stick within the continuity of the actual movies. They were totally different. And they acted like, oh well, this is how things are now, and oh, it's a different vibe, it's a different continuity and stuff. Like it's still, and here's the thing, they were using basically almost the same designs of the characters, but it was a different continuity. It was totally different than what it was previously. And what did they do to remedy this? What did they do to remedy this confusion? They decided, okay, Bumblebee is going to be our soft reboot, and it's going to be our soft reboot prequel. We're going to start over, and then we're going to do Transformers: Rise of the Beast as yes, the seventh movie, but now it's a different continuity. It's a reboot of what was. So it's not anything different than even what they've done. With or without Michael Bay at the helm. It's nothing different. It's nothing new. And I believe, honestly, that if Sonic 4 doesn't stay within the continuity of what we've seen right now, I would not be bothered if they go in a different direction. And they just say Sonic 4 is the start of a new trilogy of stories. And basically, this new trilogy of stories is all animated. CGI animated in the movie style, but all animated. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be against it because with animation, you can do a lot more. You can do a hell of a lot more than you could do with the hybrid of CGI and animation together. Getting more Pepsi there. But like I said, you could do a lot more, a hell of a lot more with animation, CGI, 2D, Flash, whatever, than you could do with a hybrid of it and live action. So I would not be surprised if Sonic 4, if it doesn't stay within the context of what we have now, starts a whole new trilogy, if not a whole new litany of theatrical Sonic films in the cinematic universe. You never know. You never know. So I'm looking forward to that fourth Sonic movie because we know it's going to happen no matter what the box office numbers are for Sonic 3, which, by the way, I think it's going to probably be the highest. I think financially it's going to be uh, the highest grossing Sonic film out of the three, just because of who's in it and what it's loosely adapting. That's what I think. That's my honest opinion. I could be wrong, but let me know. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong about that. But again, like I said, but again, as I mentioned, Fowler himself said, "Hey, there's a whole lore, there's a whole mess of Sonic stuff we can work within, not just here in this continuity world, but also outside of it." So I think that'd be really cool. Well, I thought, excuse me, I thought Excuse me. Excuse me again. Carbonation. But like I said, I think that'd be really cool. If they decide, hey, we're not going to continue the live action part, this third one's going to be the end of that, but the fourth, fifth, and sixth movies, all new trilogy, all animated, I wouldn't have a problem with that. And that could really help out. Because again, you can keep it, in the style of what we see in the movies, so far, and just go from there. If you want an example of what I mean, just look at the first Sonic movie. Look at the beginning there, even when Sonic's young. That's pretty much what I think we'll get with the fourth, fifth, and sixth Sonic movies if they decide to end the live action portion here and the live action story here and then go off and do something different with 4, 5, and 6. I think that's what we'll get. I think we will get that kind of animated movie, basically identical to what we saw at the beginning of the first Sonic film. That's just my opinion. But again, could I be wrong about it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we'll see. He's saying there's a whole peripheral of stuff to mess with, so we'll see. Now, I also know that Sega according to some people, Sega has said that basically SATAM, Archie Sonic characters cannot be utilized, anywhere, right? I don't think that's totally true. I think honestly, that's just some people that don't want to see the Archie Sonic, Sonic SATAM characters, get put into any Sonic media because, it's the characters that they of this generation don't know. They of this generation only know of Amy, Rouge, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Blaze, Whisper, Tangle, you name it. Those are the only ones they know. They don't know Sally, they don't know Bunny, they don't know Antoine, Dulcie, they don't know any of them. And I think honestly it's those kind of people that are saying that kind of stuff. I don't think it's true. Because if it was, then Sega of themselves would have gone straight to Paramount right now and said, take SATAM off Paramount Plus. They would have gone to YouTube right now and to WildBrain and say, take SATAM and Adventures in Underground off. They would have done that, but they didn't. And you know why? Because they know they get money from the viewership numbers that Paramount and YouTube accumulate, and WildBrain, I should say, through YouTube, accumulate by people watching those channels and those episodes. So I don't think them saying, hey, we don't want these characters involved is true. I think somebody made that up, and I think they should basically, just honestly, as a fan, myself, keep the thoughts to themselves. Just keep them to themselves. If you don't like certain characters, that's fine. But don't make stuff up to where, oh, this is true, this is what they said and all that. Don't make stuff up, okay? Don't make stuff up. Because if that was the case, then Sega would not have allowed human characters in these movies. Okay? They wouldn't have allowed human characters in this film. They wouldn't have allowed Jeff Fowler to go in the direction he's been going. They would have said, no, you stay true to what you're adapting. It's got to be scene for scene. That's what they would have done. But they didn't. So people need to stop making stuff up just because, oh, I don't know this character, I don't know that character. Guess what? The shows, in comics with them in there are on YouTube. They're out there to buy through Mile High Comics and Midtown Comics and Amazon. Buy them. Buy them, check them out, and you'll see exactly why fans love those characters even to this day. So to me, people need to stop making stuff up. Especially when someone like Fowler comes out and says there's a whole lore, there's a whole, universe of Sonic to work with. Look, if Sega was really the way they were, he wouldn't have said that. Now, with that said, what else could potentially come out of this? Well, a lot of people are speculating that because Fowler has said that kind of stuff, we could see, projects, that not just involve Sonic, but other Sonic characters. That's why when you look at the fact that but people have drawn up to be a movie version of Sally three ways to Sunday. That's pretty much, people confirming from what, confirming what Fowler said. That there's a lot of other, lore and, lore and universes to work with. And Sally is part of that lore. Sally is part of that, universe, that multiverse of characters that he could say, hey, if I want to include her in Sonic 4, I'm going to include her in Sonic 4. And Sega would be fine with it because that would be his decision. They gave him the okay to utilize and put whoever he wanted in there to adapt whatever story he wanted. They gave him the okay. So if he says, I want to take Sally, Princess Sally, the way she looked like in the post reboot, like what we see here on the screen, I want to take her, put her in the movie, Sonic 4, Sonic 5. He's got all the power to do that. If he wants to say, hey, we're doing some planet jumping here in Sonic 3, I'm going to take Sally post-reboot style, put her in there, and have her show up as a surprise cameo appearance whilst, on one of the planets that Sonic and Robotnik are jumping between to try to find a way to beat Shadow. That's his decision. If he wants to take the Sally that's next to her that has no vest and holding the coal and do the same thing, that's his decision. If he wants to take the Sally in the picture that's sitting on the light pole, if you will, on the traffic light pole, and she's reading a book with the vest on and everything, if he wants to take that Sally and do it, he can do it. It's his decision. They gave him that power. They gave him that right. Now, I know people might say, well, he doesn't have total power, and that's true, but he has enough say to basically go out and decide, hey, if I want this character, I'm going to bring that character in. And, Sega would be fine with it. As long as the movie makes the money. And that's a fact. As long as the movie makes the money, that's all they care about. He could decide in Sonic 4, I'm going to bring in all the freaking Freedom Fighters. That's his decision. Because Sega will look at the past 3 Sonic movies, see that they made a lot of money, if you will. Sonic 3, which I believe, as I said earlier, I believe is going to be the highest grossing one out of the 3. It's going to combine, take them over $1 billion, if not more. I wouldn't say it's going to hit $1 billion, but it's going to basically combine-wise take all 3 of them over the $1 billion mark. All they're going to care about is the dollar signs, the U.S. dollar signs, the yen signs. Excuse me for saying that, but they're going to see that, and that's all they're going to care about. They're not going to care what Sonic characters he utilizes. If he decides, hey, I want to take those 2 new popular characters, Tangle and Whisper, put them on one of the planets that Sonic and Robotnik probably are going to planet jump to during the 3rd movie to find a way to beat Shadow. If he wants to do that, that's his decision. If he wants to take Blaze the cat that you see in the bottom right-hand corner and say, I want to put her in the 4th movie, or I want to put her as a cameo on one of the planets they're jumping from and everything, that's his decision. And people need to realize that. They need to wake up and realize that, okay? Now, do directors always make the right decisions? Of course not. Of course they don't. Do the screenwriters, the scriptwriters that write the story for the director to direct, do they do a good job sometimes? Of course not. Sometimes they'll make dumb decisions. I talked about the X-Men movies as examples. Well, not the X-Men movies, but I talked about the Transformer films. It got to a point that even though the films made a lot of money, they were losing money as well. And it was all because of the fact that the writer gave a script to the director that didn't make sense. But hey, it's Transformers, it's going to make money, let's make it. It got to the point that Hasbro had to step in and say, nah, enough. We're going to reboot this. It was enough for Paramount and Hasbro to step in. And tell them, hey, fix this. Fans will lose. We're making money, but we're losing money. And that's what they did. That's what they did with Bumblebee. That's what they did with Rise of the Beast. And that's what they're going to do with the crossover between Transformers and G.I. Joe. They're fixing this. They are fixing what happened. They are fixing what was a mess, what was confusing. But the example I'm using out of that is that the director and the screenwriter had the power to write whatever story they wanted and put in any character they wanted because they were given that power. And it only took Hasbro and Paramount to step in and say, yeah, we're making some big money, but we're also losing big money. And to me, if Jeff Fowler and his writing team are continuously making some good stories, loosely adapted or not, and they're making millions of dollars, if not close to a billion or halfway to a billion, you think honestly, Sega, Sega of Japan, Sega of America, Sega overall, Sega Sammy, if you will, is going to step in and say, no, you can't put this character. No, 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 no. You think they're going to do that? No. Because as long as the movie makes the money, that's all they care. That's all they care about. Okay? That's all they effing care about. And you know it, and I know it. Getting some more Pepsi there. But yeah, that's all they care about. That's all they care about. If it makes them money, it makes them money. And he has the power to do that. And the possibilities are very, like I've said before, I know I'm being repetitive, but they are indeed endless. They are so endless, in my opinion, that it's hard to fathom. It's hard to fathom the possibilities and directions they could go in. Like I said, they could decide that this third film is the end of the live action portion, and story. It's the end of the live action stories, and that 4, 5, and maybe 6 are going to be the trilogy of the animated stories. And like I said, if you look at the beginning of Sonic 1, that's pretty much what you're going to end up getting, as far as animation goes. And that will sell itself because the animation is so beautiful and technology is evolving every day, especially through animation technology, that I can almost guarantee by the time we get to a 4th or 5th film, or even a 6th, it's going to feel like you're watching a live action movie, but you're not. You're watching CGI animation. It's going to get to that point. It's going to get to that point. And I'm all here for it. I'm all here for it. So I believe, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Now, do I believe in the future, depending on how they continue the cinematic universe, do I believe we will see characters like Amy and Rouge? Yeah. I would not be surprised if we see them show up at the end of the third film. Or I will not be surprised if I see them cameo in the third film and then show up at the end as well if there's planet jumping, a la Warp Wings. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if we see Blaze the Cat in the 4th or 5th film. I would not be surprised by that. Heck, I won't be surprised if we see Blaze show up in the Shadow miniseries that Paramount could do. I would not be surprised by that. I would not be surprised if Metal Sonic shows up, not just in this movie, as some people are projecting and speculating, but could potentially show up in the Shadow miniseries to be an adversary for Shadow. I would not be surprised by that. But, it's a possibility. I would not be surprised if Big the Cat shows up in Sonic 4. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if, again, he decides, I'm going to dig into the lore so far, or so deep, I'm going to insert characters people would not expect, and they're going to love them. And they're going to appreciate that. And that could be the Freedom Fighters. That could be the Freedom Fighters. I am not saying it won't happen, but I expect it to happen. I do. We are in that time frame now. We are in that time frame now to where I expect it to effing happen. I expect the Freedom Fighters to show up. I do. And you know what? I would not be surprised if they show up. If, again, he decides to do it, if they show up in one of the future Sonic films. The more animated ones. I would not be surprised by that. And I know you guys shouldn't be either. You guys shouldn't be either. But again, I would not be surprised. I would not put it past. I would not put it past Jeff Fowler to do that because he has the power given to him. He has the power given to him. Yeah, he doesn't have total power, but he has enough power to where if he wants a certain character or he wants to adapt a certain story, he can make it happen. And he will. He will. And I know some people may think, oh, that's not. And I know some people may say, no, that's not true. You're grasping for straws way too much. You're theorizing way too much. Guess what? That's what being a fan is about. And especially when the person behind it is a fan themselves. Especially the person who worked as a VFX animator on the game in which the character that's in this film, the antagonist in this film, was the featured star in. When they say, hey, nothing's off limits, I believe them. I really do. I believe them. I talk about Tangle and Whisper. I would not be surprised if we get a Shadow miniseries that not just along with Metal showing up and the possibility of Rouge, because she has to play a part in that, and even E1, what is it, E Omega, if you will, Omega showing up. I would not be surprised if Tangle and Whisper would show up. I would not be. I would not be surprised. I would not put it past them. And neither should you. Neither should any of you put it past Jeff Fowler and his crew if they decide to do that. I wouldn't. I would not put it past them. I wouldn't. But yeah, honestly, guys, I think that's all more of a possibility than ever before. I think, yeah, we will see Amy and Rouge either in a cameo appearance in the middle of the film and then showing up at the end, via warp ring. I am almost counting on that. I will not be surprised that when they do a Shadow 6 to 8 part episodic, miniseries, that Rouge is part of it, Metal Sonic's part of it, and maybe even just for laughs you have, the Tangle and Whisper or the Chaotix part of it. I would not be surprised by any of that. I would not be surprised if Blaze shows up in Sonic 4. Heck, she might be the character that joins Amy and Rouge jumping into our world. We don't know. We don't know. But nothing is off the table, in my opinion. Nothing is off the table, after this third film. Nothing is off the table because as well as I do, it's going to probably make more money than the other two movies individually, not combined, but, well, actually combined, when I think about it. It'll make more money than them combined, and individually. And then together, put them over the $1 billion mark. I am not going to be surprised by that. Nor will I be surprised if, the floodgates is going to be opening up later. I would not be. But yeah, going back to what I talked about at the beginning, I truly believe a lot of things are going to happen here, or are possible to happen. I believe the revelation that Shadow could be from Sonic's world is a possibility. I believe the revelation that Gunn and to an extent Gerald Robotnik knew of the existence of Sonic's world, and that's going to get revealed is a possibility. I believe the characters, our main trio as of right now, learning major lessons, throughout this in adaptability and growing up and such, and realizing, okay, where can they, help out best. I think that's a possibility. Like like I said with Knuckles, realizing, okay, he could still be a warrior, go by his warrior ways, but he also has to adapt to the world he's in and realize, okay, the warrior ways may not always work here in this world. And Sonic, again, I think he's gonna, go get to the point to where he's gonna still want to have fun and everything, but also, grow up but also grow to the point that he'll realize that when it comes to threats like Shadow, he's got to put the fun and playtime aside and get serious and be mature and grown up. I think that's going to be what he learns. And Tails is going to realize that, hey, he might be able to fly and help out in certain ways in that manner, but his best way of helping is to come up with plans and invent things that can help Sonic and even Knuckles combat into threats like a Shadow. I believe those are possibilities. I believe we could get, like I said, planet jumping or time travel. I believe there's a possibility that the character that Christine Girl is playing could be Maria, but they had the mind swaps because Maria's body was pretty much done for, but her mind was still like functioning. And Joel's like, I'll save you, but I'll do it this way. I could see that happening. I could see that being possible. Um, you know, I could see all that as possibilities. So so yeah, it's so yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff that I think is going to happen in this film. I really do. And I think what happens at the end is going to lead into that Shadow 6 to 8 episode miniseries on Paramount Plus. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, could I be wrong about that? Yeah, but I think when you look at the trailer, I think pretty much we pretty much could clue a lot of stuff together that I mentioned as strong, if not legit, possibilities. Excuse me. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. But again, it's just my thoughts, guys. It's just what I feel is possible and everything. And again, I believe what happens. Excuse me, what happens movie wise afterwards. You know, the door is open. Again, like I said, he could decide to keep things as they are for the fourth, maybe fifth movie, or he could decide to end the live action portion with the third film and then use the fourth, fifth, and sixth films to go all animated, just like we saw at the beginning of the first Sonic movie. And that to me opens the doors for many possibilities, many characters to show up. And I think it'll be a I think honestly it'll be a fun. I think honestly, we are going to be in over the next several years. I think we're going to be in for the. If you're a Sonic fan overall, I think we're going to be for the. I think we are going to be in for the ride of our lives. I really do. I think we are going to be in for the ride of our lives. I think we are going to have some great storytelling coming our way with Sonic, with his friends, and again, I'm not going to put it past him. Jeff Fowler and his crew have said nothing is off limits. Basically, when it comes to the Sonic multiverse, the lore, I'm not going to put it past him. That we see Blaze in one of these films, I'm not going to put it past him. That we see Rouge show up at the end, like I said, Rouge and Amy show up at the end of the third film, maybe make a cameo, feet wise or whatever, in the third film or whatever the case might be, and then show up fully at the end. I'm not going to put it past that. I'm not going to put it past Rouge, along with Metal, maybe Tangle and Whisper, or the Chaotic showing up in the Shadow miniseries. I would not put it past them. I would not put it past Blaze showing up in the fourth film, maybe the fifth film. Maybe, like I said, she shows up along with Amy and Rouge. That's a possibility at the end of the third film. But again, I would not put it past them for anything to show up. I would not put it past Jeff Fowler or his crew. I would not put it past them if they decide, hey, we want to bring in the Freedom Fighters. I would not be surprised if that happens. I wouldn't be. And I don't think anybody listening to this now, live, or listening to this later on, I don't think anybody should doubt that. I don't think anybody should doubt that. Because to me, this third film, after it's all said and done, it's going to open those floodgates probably, even further than people expect. Maybe even, burst them to an extent that, they can't be repaired. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, guys. But what do you all think? What do you all think of what I had to say here? Let me know in the comments below. Super thanks will be available after this has gone through its 12 to 13 hour, I guess you could say, processing, if you will. But again, guys, like the video, like the live stream. Check out my Teespring store. Link is in the description, along with links to where you can find me at places like Spotify for podcasters, iHeart, Rumble, Odyssey, Vimo. Cash App and Venmo information is down there as well if you want to help donate that way. Also, guys, like I said, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated if you did that. Again, go to the Teespring store, pick up some merchandise there. It'd help me out big time, guys, because again, I'm getting very close to the end of my current unemployment run, unless unless I start working again. But let me know. But again, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on what I had to say. Do you agree with most of what I mentioned here as possibilities? Let me know. Love to hear from each and every one of you on this. And yeah, that's all I can really say. But yeah, I'm looking for again. I thought the trailer was good. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the movie, I should say, when it comes out on December 20th. And as I mentioned, in the video, it's a great strategic idea to release it then. Kids are going to be out, parents are going to be out for Christmas, so makes a lot of sense. You get chance to do it then, make a lot of money at that time as well. But again, let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Love to hear from each and every one of you. And until next time, you all have a good day, and